Hi, Firsty friends. Welcome back to Marvelous Monday. Can you believe this is our 9th day of homeschool? I hope it's going well for you, and I hope you're enjoying it. Don't be too hard on yourself about all that work. I want you to read, have fun, maybe cook dinner with your family, go outside, write with some sidewalk chalk, do some fun things. Since it's Marvelous Monday, you know what that means. Good morning to you, and how do you do? I'm happy to see you. Good morning to you. It's time for quick questions. First, what names a person, place, thing, or animal? Is it a noun or a verb? Count by tens beginning with the number 13, like this: 13, 23, 33. Keep going. Which animals have feathers and beaks? Birds or insects? Sick people stay here. Doctors and nurses work here. What place is it? And last, if a unicorn lost its horn, what animal would it look like? Great job, Firsties! All right, it's time for some word work. Let's talk about rhyming words. I'm going to give you 2 words. If my 2 words rhyme, I want you to give me a thumbs up. If these words don't rhyme, give me a thumbs down. Are you ready? Here are your first 2 words. Saw, draw. Fault, vault. Port, chart. Yawn, yarn. Burn, born. Bark, shark. Straw, paw. Twirl, girl. Claw, flaw. Pause, hawk. Let's do some more. Let's delete a phoneme from a word and see what our new word is. My first word is lawn. Take off the n and you're left with law. Try one on your own. Pause. Take off the s. Fault. Take off the t. Claws. Take off the s. Great job on your word work. Well, hello again. Remember how we've been talking about the long vowel sound? We've talked about vowel teams that say the A sound and the O sound. Last week we talked about vowel teams that make the E sound. Today we're going to talk about vowel teams that make the long I sound. We already know about I and silent E. Words like this: bike, or kite. Those words have the I sound with I and silent E. Let's think about one-syllable words that end with a Y. They will say the I sound. Words like my, or try, or buy. Can you think of any other words with one syllable that end with a Y? What about the vowel team I-E? Remember, when two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. Here's a word that says I with I-E, something you might like to eat. Pie. Can you think of any other words that have the I sound with I-E? What about I-G-H? This is something you can do on a trampoline. You can jump up high. That has the I-G-H team, which says the sound I. Now, of course, there are other words that will also say the I sound. Maybe they don't use these patterns in words. See if you can come up with any others and put them here. Think of friends' names in our own class that might have the long I sound. Can you think of anyone? I can think of two. Here's the first one that we would put in other because it doesn't follow any of these rules. Lila. Lila, your name says the I sound. It just doesn't follow any of these other rules. How about this name? Eli. You have the long I sound at the end of your name. Both of you are right here because we hear that long I sound, but it doesn't follow any of these patterns. I'm happy to say hello, Lila and Eli. Make your own tree map at home and see how many words you can come up with the long I sound. Remember, we're talking about vowel teams, so try to come up with as many words as you can. I know you can do it. Hello again, Firsties. I wanted to talk to you before I read a book to you to make sure that you're reading at home. Remember this packet I gave you that has all of the fluency passages in it? I want to make sure you're still reading and timing yourself. So if you have this, I want you to get it out and time yourself for 1 minute. See how many words you can read. Do all the stories by the end of the week. That would be good practice. It's time to read a book. Today's book is a special book called Violet the Pilot by Steve Breen. And we've been given special permission to read this book by Dial Books for Young Readers. I wanted to read this book because we all know we have a Violet in our class. Violet, this book is just for you. Violet the Pilot. Everyone in town knew that Violet Van Winkle was a little different. For starters, she and her parents lived in an odd-looking house next to the junkyard her father managed. And while the other girls were playing with dolls and tea sets, Violet played with monkey wrenches and needle-nose pliers. Violet was a mechanical genius. By the time she was 2, she could fix almost any broken appliance in the house. By 4, she could take apart the grandfather clock and completely reassemble it. Since she didn't have any friends aside from her dog, Orville, she would spend hours tinkering with things from the yard. Violet's parents were very proud of her, although they weren't too happy the time she put a lawnmower engine on her cousin's tricycle. The older she got, the more interesting Violet's creations became. Around the time she turned 8, she was building elaborate machines from scratch, and not just any old machines. Flying machines. Her parents couldn't believe their eyes when they saw Violet zoom by for the first time. They were a little worried in the beginning, but they quickly saw that she was a pretty good pilot. "Careful not to hit the house," Violet's father would yell. "And put on a sweater," her mother would add. Violet used anything she could find in the junkyard to make her wonderful contraptions. There was the tub bubbler, and the bicopter, and the rocket can. The pogo plane, the slide glider, and the wingamajig, to name a few. Violet's engineering was pretty sound. The only real hazards were tall trees, piles of junk in the yard, and bugs in her teeth. Kids at school would see Violet eating lunch alone and make fun of her strange books and greasy coveralls. Claude and Clyde Mulrooney were especially obnoxious. Look at that. Then one day, Violet noticed a poster in the drugstore window. Air Show, October 20th, it read. That's only 2 weeks away, Violet thought. Can kids fly in the show? Is homemade aircraft allowed? That night, Violet sat in her room thinking about the air show. She knew it would be a good feeling if one of her planes won a prize, and maybe then the kids at school would be nice to her. Violet pictured exactly where she would hang her blue ribbon. She and Orville spent the next few days combing the junkyard for just the right materials. When they'd collected a giant pile of stuff, the building began. One day, the Mulroney twins happened to pass by. "Look, it's that girl from school," one of them said. "What are you doing, weirdo?" "I'm building an airplane," she told them. The twins exploded in laughter, then mumbled something mean as they walked away. Orville barked at the boys, but Violet just went back to her project. "Take it easy, buddy," she said. "We're too busy to worry about them." Finally, after days of hard work, Violet had finished making her flying machine. She named the magnificent new craft the Hornet. "Wait till people in the grandstand see me flying this," Violet said to Orville. The test flight was a success. On the day of the big air show, Violet took off, bursting with excitement. Her parents' faces had beamed with pride, and they wished her luck. She thought about that as she flew through the clear autumn sky. She calculated that the trip would take about 20 minutes. She would arrive just in time for the start of the show. Suddenly, something caught Violet's eye. In the river below, a group of people were waving frantically. Violet lowered her altitude to get a better look. A troop of Boy Scouts had run into trouble while canoeing. Violet knew she had to help fast. It wasn't easy rescuing all the boys, but Violet piloted the Hornet with careful precision. Saving the Scoutmaster from going over the falls was particularly dangerous. Violet dropped the grateful Scouts off at the hospital. Then she checked her watch. 33, she said to Orville sadly. "We missed the air show." She turned her plane toward home and sighed. It was a miserable feeling. That evening, Violet had no appetite for dinner. She just went upstairs and sat on her bed. All of a sudden, she heard lots of noise outside the house. She and Orville went to the window and discovered that a crowd of people had gathered. Somebody spotted her. "There's Violet," the boy shouted jubilantly. "There's our hero." The Van Winkles stepped outside, squinting from all the flashbulbs that were popping. The press, the mayor, the fire, and the police chiefs, even kids and teachers from school, had all learned of the rescue that day and had come to praise her. "Young lady, please accept this Medal of Valor as a token of our gratitude and esteem," said the mayor. And he gave Orville a new collar with a license that read K9 Hero. From that day on, Violet's parents let her fly whenever she wanted, but her mom still made her wear a sweater. That's a great book. Violet, I hope you enjoyed that. And boys and girls, I hope you liked it too. Since we just read this book, Violet the Pilot, and it's all about flying, my niece Grayson is here. She made this paper airplane and it flies far. So this next clip is going to be of Grayson showing you how to make your very own paper airplane. We've linked a video from Art Hub for Kids so that you can draw your very own airplane. Hi Firsties, this is my niece
Grayson.
She's here to teach you how to make your very own paper airplane.
So first you want to start off with a piece of paper and you want to fold it like this into hot dog style. Just like that. Your next step is to open up the fold you just did, and you're going to take this corner and fold it just like this into a little triangle shape. And on this side, you're going to do what you just did on the other. Fold it just like that. You're going to want to flip your piece of paper over just like this so it's pointing like an arrow. You take this top piece and fold it just like this so that your two shapes that you just folded are now on this side, and it looks something like that. You're going to want to take this corner and fold it over like you did on the first ones, like this. And on this corner, you're going to do the same thing you just did. Feel free to take a moment to pause the video at any time if you need to catch up. So with your shapes or with your sides you just folded, you're going to want to take one and fold it like this. And you're going to do the same thing you just did on the other side. So you should have something that looks like this with a little piece in the middle that looks like a diamond. So what you're going to want to do is you fold this piece up to where it's covering the two you just folded. So your next step from here is to fold your plane just like this. You might need a parent to help you with this next step. What you're going to do is you're going to take this part and you're going to use your fingers to guide it down to the bottom so it lines up with this bottom part of your plane. It should look something like this. You're then going to flip your plane over again and do the same thing. So go like this and fold it so it meets the bottom part of your plane again. Your final product should look something like this.
It's time for Math Talks. I want to remind you to practice counting by 2s and 5s. Make sure you're doing it often so that you know how to count by 2s and 5s all the way to 120. But today I want to talk to you about two-digit addition. We've practiced this in our class before we left school, so I want to talk to you about it again. Here we have 22 plus 45. We know several strategies to use to get the sum of 22 plus 45. One strategy would be to draw 10s and 1s. So in 22, I have 2 groups of 10 and 2 ones. In 45, I have 4 groups of 10s and 5 ones. Now I can combine the 10s to see my sum. 2 and 4 would make 6 10s, and 2 and 5 ones would make 7 ones. So that is one way to get the sum. There's another way to get the sum too, though, and it's a way we have sung about before. It's line it up, 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 line it up, up, line it up, up. Get the answer! 22 is our first number. Plus, let's line up the 10s and the 1s. 45. We have lined up those digits so that we can add the 1s place. 2 plus 5 is 7. And the 10s place. 2 plus 4 is 6. This is a fun thing to do at home. Practice 2-digit addition at home with your family. Have fun. You know we love math. What do you call it when a giraffe swallows a toy jet? A plane in the neck. One more thing. Mrs. Bickham loves each and every one of you, no matter what.